Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm eating a cake. Welcome to the live stream. I'm having a beer as well after today. How's things? Hope everyone is safe and well. I walked into the fridge to get a beer and I saw the cake there and I thought, well, I'm going to eat that while I'm there, so why not? So, good morning, guys. Good afternoon. How are you wherever you are in the world? It is Sunday again. Let me just move the microphone. It seems in my way a little bit. It's in the way of my cake. I hope you all have had a great day. I've been flying. I've had some really weird crap go on today, which we will talk about tonight. But there is a lot to talk about because we're going to talk about Radiomaster and the new T16 Mark II. That's not it. Can you tell the difference? Is there a difference? We'll talk about that. We're going to talk about the new HDZero Whoop camera and where they're at on this, because there's actually some really interesting stuff going on with HDZero and sort of scaling the system down. We'll talk a bit about the potential of an FPV Mini, and we'll talk about anything else that comes up as well. Now, as always, guys, if you're new here, welcome to the channel. I'm going to finish my cake before I jump in, and then I'm going to go through the live comments. So say hello. Good evening. I can see Mark. I can see Ken. I should start at the top, actually. I can see Mike. The chocolate clear. I can see Ken Lepper. I can see Brutus. I can see what I can't say that. Whatever I say is going to be wrong, so I'm going to say Wachana Sobota is how I'm going to say it. If I apologize it wrong, I do apologize. Saplock Jones, good evening. Good evening, Peppermint. How are you, my friend? Jody. Robert. Keep going down, keep going down, keep going down, keep going down. Where are we? Peppermint. AutoGig FPV. Michael, how are you? Hector M. Leslie. Malin, is it Malin FPV? Good evening, Michael Texan. And Wolf as well, type. How are you doing, my friends? I'm going to get this done now so I can get it out of the way. And Floor. It's not a professional way to start a live stream, is it? At all. Stuck in my mouth now. I'm going to have to wash it down with the beer. Now, today's beer, let me get for the overhead. Ooh, that looks horrible. What's going on there? Is something, it's called Conway Brewery. It's called Gwyn Gold. Haven't actually tried this one yet. Oh, that's very nice. Oh, we like that. We like that indeed. There we go. That's the unprofessional part of it. Actually, it's all unprofessional. That's a nice beer. So, I hope you guys have all been well. I hope you've had a good weekend. I've had a really interesting one, actually. Just to set it up, I'm in the process of doing a video where I'm going to be talking very short one. I have no intention of it being very long, but it's a bit of a reaction video, actually. And it's just going to be flying analog and digital and just giving some thoughts at the time, because you get a lot of people say you don't need digital, you know, analog is fine. So I went out and bought the best camera you can get in analog, which is the Foxeer T-Rex. I went out and got a TBS Unify Pro, which I've had all sorts of problems with today, but it turns out it wasn't the Unify Pro. It was my Skyzone 04Xs. I then compared that to digital HDZero and DJI. And the idea is just to sort of fly the three, one after another, and give some thoughts as I'm doing it. And I'll share a little bit tonight because it is interesting when you hop between the systems very quickly, and you do get some differences in behavior. Now, I am fighting a problem on the analog that I don't know why is happening. And it might be the T-Rex, but it might not. But unfortunately, the second problem, which was I crashed and lost all video and thought I'd burn out the Unify, has sidetracked my testing for the first problem, which is a judder on the image. Now, I'll show you guys this so you guys can see, and I've slowed the footage down on this just to show it to you. Here we go. And what I'm going to show is, let me just get the desktop up. There we go. And I'm going to show you the footage, and I'll show you what I'm seeing. And I'm getting a wobble on the image. And I've slowed this down from 60 to 30 frames a second to be able to demonstrate it for you guys. So that's it at full speed. And I don't know how well you guys can see that on the stream. This is no motors armed at the moment. That was just, let me just play that again. That was just sitting down on the floor. No motors. I know it looks like motors with the jiggle, but that isn't. It's not the motors, it is the image. And I'm getting a jiggle on the image that I don't know why is there. Let me just do this one again. That's it slowed down so you guys can see it a bit easier. And it is definitely on the video. Now, I thought at first, looking at this, you can see there I am. I thought at first, looking at this, that the OSD wasn't doing it. But I've flown again today, and I've sat it down today. Now, this is a completely different day. No wind here, nothing. This is just sitting on my bag, and it's doing the same again. And it's just weird. Very, very weird. And I don't know. Maybe someone's mother was walking close to her. I need to understand what's going on here. But at the moment, I don't know. Is it the camera or something else? I just get image jitter when using any light camera. I'm using steady view, and I think it's that. And I do wonder if this is the steady view. Now, Dirty, you may have just answered my question. This is the T-Rex camera. And this is on the 04X, is on the internal DVR, and I can see it. I can see it happening on the screen at the high rate. But I do think the OSD's moving as well. Now, if I just slow this playback down a minute, speed, slow, fine. Let me just playback, speed, slower, fine. Actually, no, playback, speed, slower. I need to slow this right down. I wish you had a speed adjustment on this. Just a proper one. I think the OSD is wobbling as well. I'm looking, and the OSD is definitely moving as well. It doesn't seem to be as much as the image, but I am convinced that OSD has the same wobble. So I really don't know what is going on here, hand on heart. It was something I wanted to diagnosed this afternoon when I got back after flying, but I've been spent all my time dealing with this bloody fault. And I had an off in a field a bit far away from me than I would have liked. I was flying over something with a body of water in the middle, basically. Easily line of sight, but I just couldn't walk to it. So I had to walk around to get to it, unfortunately. And what happened was, and I can't show you the footage because the DVR footage is not, it's failed, and I need to repair it, and it's not repaired in the module neither. I thought the DVR footage would repair. I pulled the power, I did, because I had to go run and grab it. And I had an off, and a very simple off, and I lost video. And I never got it back. Now, I assumed the problem was with the Unify Pro because I just couldn't get it to work. And it turns out that it wasn't. It was the SteadyView X module had completely flipped out and was refusing to receive any video. So I've ended up tearing the craft apart. I got the bloody VTX year now. And it turns out the SteadyView X module freaked out on crash and lost all video as well, which is just bizarre. I have no idea why that's happening. So I've reset it between the modes and it suddenly kicked back in. And that's allowed me to get it up and running again. But now I've got to do all of the testing on the camera and understand what is this jiggly, pokery bit all about. It's very visible in flight as well. So it's like a very fast refresh. The OSD in the first one seems stable. However, having looked at it today, I swear in goggles it looks like the OSD is moving. But that could just be the effect of the image moving in the background. But it is utterly bizarre. I've never seen anything like it before. Was leaning on this might be the SteadyView receiver. Because if I put the goggles in digital mode with HDMI, it's absolutely perfect. I haven't got another module I can put in it, unfortunately. See if it can't interlace the images quick enough. It's very weird. I haven't touched the firmware. It's the new one, so it's the SteadyView X. It's the latest module, and it came with the firmware on, which I think is the latest firmware. I'll power it up, and I will tell you guys as we speak. It's the SteadyView X module, because these are brand new goggles. I also need to see... Let's power him up. I got jiggly bits as well. Yeah, we all have our jiggly bits. Let me just go into the menus. Oh, go out. Right. Okay, so we are firmware 1 is version 3.4.6, firmware 2 is version 02.00.00.10, and hardware version is version 3.2.3.4. So this is the latest version of the goggles. This is the version 3s, technically. Can you align the border of another window with the OSD text while the video... Ah, that's an interesting one. It's very strange. It's very strange. Okay, so let's zoom first of all, shall we? Why is that not zoomed? Does zoom not work on video? Always fit window now. Zoom, original, oh god. Ah, no, it always fit to window. Yeah, because it's 720p, it wants to zoom out. If you cast and lost video, it is because you had low power disarm set on the beat. Yeah, it probably did. But why the hell did the SteadyView kick off? That was the real strange bit, was the behavior of SteadyView. Okay, let's go on Resolve, right? And let's go in Resolve. Let's make this all a little bit bigger, right? And that's the... Okay, so let's... So that's the OSD there. Okay, so if we play... It's definitely doing something, innit? Something happened with the steady and half the price of the something happened with the SteadyView. So if we just play this again, so we've got, yeah, there's definitely something going on with that, isn't there? Evening, David Owens. I'm going to have to catch up on the super chats in a minute. Good evening, David. Thank you for the super chat. And there was a second one further up here somewhere else as well, which I need to get back to. So let me get the super chats out the way first of all. Let me, because we've had two now. Thank you very much. Ken Lepper, first of all, or Leaper. Leper or Leaper, whichever one it is. Thank you, Ken. I massively appreciate it. The £4.49 super chat. I don't know what to say, mate. It's beyond words. I appreciate how much you guys. And David Owens. David, for those who don't know, David is a fantastic guy. Absolutely smashing bloke. I got to meet him a bit more than a few weeks now, actually. But I got to meet David as well. Absolutely stonking guy. He really is. So thank you guys for the super chats. Absolutely fantastic. I really do appreciate it. So yeah, there's something going on with that, isn't there? But if I now move that image, let's just get down to like there, and then look at that. Let's just, what is going on there? What is that about? But the OSD is not moving as much. Leaper, thought it was. Yeah, that's Wiggly Horizon very slightly. I could be wrong. However, I've flown Rapid Fire, TBS Fusion, and now got Steady View, and I think that looks completely normal. Yeah, that is weird, isn't it? It's very noticeable. OSD is not the problem. No. That's weird, isn't it? That's weird. So what I need to do, because I haven't really seen it on the bench. I didn't see it in here. So what I need to understand now is it the goggles or the camera? Zoom into the very bottom row. It's... So, should we go from there? There you go. Have I had any desyncs yet? No. Looks like crappy analog to me. Yeah, that's... It's like it's shifting, isn't it? Yeah, it's definitely analog. There's no question about it. So I need to understand what it is. Is it the camera? Is it... It's not going to be the VTX, or is it the Steady View receiver? So I need to get everything back together so I can start playing again, is what I need to do. But I might do this playing not in the aircraft, actually. What I might do is do it on the bench. Could it be a temperature thing? I don't think so. Hello, subject. It's BT54 with thesis. There's always risk, but I wouldn't be worried too much. I'm running 4.3 on my HDZero rig, and I'm with the 1 watt VTX, and that's one I wouldn't want to lose. So that sort of gives you my opinion on it. I don't think there's any risk in it. I honestly don't think there's any risk in it. Yeah, I just need to make sure what one it is. I need to figure out what I need to send back. No, mine doesn't have the... I have no... nothing on the Steady View. It's just... Nope. I want that one. There you go. No, it doesn't. I don't have it. But I'm classed as V3 hardware when you look in the menus. Autel TV. That is a regular Steady View module. Yeah, it's a Steady... But it's labelled as Steady View X, isn't it? I thought under the menu system. No, I don't have a spare module. Go for that one. No, I don't have a spare module, but I have a spare set of goggles. So I can test on a different set of goggles. I have a very old set of analogs I can use just to see is it still happening. I can't record on them. Version 2.3 for the module. I thought I was on 2.3 already. What firmware am I on for the module? Yeah, I have. I've got, believe it or not, I've actually got a lot of analog cameras right now. Does it happen when flying? Yeah, you can see it in the image when flying. You can see it all of the time. It's there all of the time. Tell you what I am going to do. 1 second. This is a different camera. This is on the Whoop. No, it's in the goggles. You can see it. I could see it in the goggles before the DVR. It's noticeable on screen and DVR. There's no way to tell the version of the module in the goggle. Ah, okay. So, SkyZone then. So, how do we update the firmware? Because I haven't looked at updating the firmware on this module. So, how do we update the firmware on the module then? SkyZone. I have no idea how we do this. 04X. That's what I have. I'll get the buttons right tonight at some point. And we'll be moving on to the remote in a minute. So, how do we do the... So, we do downloads. So is it the version... Steady View version 2.3? I'm guessing. Okay, let's have a look. What's this do? Extract to desktop. Let's just have a look what that does. Now, my hardware is the version 3 goggle hardware, I believe, because of the models. But steady view. So let's have a look what it says here. Release notes. I'd be shocked if my goggles don't have that. So is there no way? Yeah, is there no way then to tell at all what you've got? There's just no way of doing that, I assume. It would just be nice to know, wouldn't it, before you did it, what it was. Let me just do one thing. Let me just grab a battery. I just want to fire the Whoop up and just see if I see it on the Whoop. No way in the goggle. Okay. Was there any way at all? I'd love to know. It's no antennas. It's not going to help, is it? Okay, so why have I not got video again? Right there. Oh, no. Why is my Whoop not giving me video again? Oh, unless that battery's flat. 1 second. Some of these batteries were very flat. Because I couldn't hear that running then. Oh, that might be it with it. Here we go. Hey. Hey, come back. Where is it? There. There. How'd you get out of there, you? How'd you get out? Get out! Thank you. See, I can't see it. Just before we do this, I can't see it there. I swear. Put an SD card in this a sec. It's a different camera, mind, isn't it? So, but let's just look at this a minute, shall we? Before we do the module, be interesting to see. There we go. Let me just record a sec so you guys can see. We'll just have a look now if there does seem to be like a little sheen to it before we jump in. There does seem to be a little shimmer, but not... You know what? It could be there. You know what? That might actually be there. Okay, that's long enough. And it might be in good light that you see it the most. Okay, so let's just have a quick look at that before we do. When you update the module, you have to press the boot button as you plug the module in to get in the new firmware to the module. Wait for about 10-15 seconds after it looks like it's completed, and then you'll have the steady read. So what you're doing is copying the file to the module first, and I'm guessing when you boot it back up, it then updates the firmware. Is that what it sounds like it's doing? We will do Sky Zones live on air. Right, let's just have a quick look at this, and just what I'm going to do is just grab that file we just did and just see if that has the same effect. So, okay, so this is recorded. Ooh, turn the audio off. That one there. It is there, look. It's right there. Yeah, it's still there. Even on this, I just hadn't noticed it in here. Hi, HQ Prince, how are you? Oops, wrong account. Is that going to be coming back with a different name? Let's wait for it. That's still there, isn't it, guys? Look at that. Right. So let me just move to the bottom of the screen. Yeah, it's still there. Right on the back one now. Hello, failsafe. Yeah, there we go. That, see, look. So it is there. Yeah, it is there. So let's do the firmware update, shall we? Okay, so we need to get the module out. So let's get the bay out. There is instructions on the screen, but I'm going to have to find a USB-C cable now that works as well, haven't I? 1 second. Believe it or not, I'm short of USB-Cs. Okay, so I'll have to use a short one. Okay. Short one with an extension. Okay, so sorry about that. So what do the instructions say? Is there any instructions? We followed the instructions. I used to update latest firmware, but these days I stick to what I know. Yeah, well, clearly I have something going on. So, steady view beta. So, is there a boot button? Did you say you said there's a button? Where's the button? Is there a button? Good old analog stuff. Yes. Where's the button? Are you sure there's a button? Do I trust you? What button? Tiny. Oh! It is as well. Well, overhead. It is there. And it is right there. He was right that it was tiny. Right, okay, so hold the button in. Let me find a different screwdriver. We'll use tweezers. Plug in USB-C. I've had the Windows dong. Can I let go of the button now? Let's just see. I'm going to let go of the button now. I've had something on the computer. Okay, so we've had... Is it the USB-K? I see. Okay, so we need to go into downloads, into this file, grab that, I'm guessing, place that on K, is what I'm guessing we have to do. Have a drink of beer, and then wait. And then when we do is just, it's a removable drive. Copy the new firmware to the module. Yeah, that's what we've just done. So it's just done it. I'm just waiting a second. So what it does then is update the firmware once you boot it back on, I'm guessing. Does it show it updating the firmware in the goggles? So we'll get to this. Okay. No, it will not be in the goggles. Make sure you wait 15 seconds. What, when you turn them on? So we're going to power them up. Osama 47. I'm just getting the mouse ready. Osama 47, how are you? No, after the file transfer. Okay, so we're going to power on. And it's just powered on and just looks normal now. So, how do you know it's updated then? How do you know it's updated? It just... Does it delete the file then? That's profiling. Remember to calibrate the RSSI. Yeah. You won't know. Brilliant. I like that. That's a firmware update process. That is. You won't know when it's done, and you won't have any proof that it is done. You just place the card. Does it delete the file to say it's done? Does it give you any hint? Great. I'm just putting the whoops back on. Okay, so I'm recording a minute. I think that looks different. Just trust us, it updated. Oh, so it uses the new firmware on the drive. I get it now. Right, okay. These are the SkyZone 04Xs. Okay, so. Get the SD card out. I love these are very good goggles. I have to say, I am super pleased with the goggles. Super pleased. They are very, very good. They are very, very, very good indeed. Right, let me just open this back up. Oh, no, not that. We want resolve. And we'll see if it's any different. Need to power. After downloading the file to the goggles, module needs to be power on again. I powered them on in the goggles. Does that make a difference? Or do they mean just plug the USB out and back in? You're good. Okay. We trust the man. Let me do this. Let me do that. Let's see what it looks like. Got those for Christmas. Haven't used them yet. They are very, very good. It might solve my problem. Hi, mate. Just got a freestyle one. What? Any idea if I could get the older HDZero VRX or wait for the new model? Right. The new VRXs are literally should be starting to be announced in the next 24 hours. If you can get one of the old ones, there's no reason not to buy it. So Nearflow FPV. There is going to be minor functional improvements in the new one. In my opinion, you will be fine with either. I wouldn't hold out. Quite good compared to this, yeah. It's not massively different, but it should be announced in the next 24 hours. Did I start make a comment? Did I miss it? With it? I got those for Christmas. Haven't used them yet, but now I know how to update them. when I do, what does it fix? Apparently, it might fix my DVR issue where it looks a bit unsteady. Guess they were not going to be 99 quid. £99 was a sale. You will not be finding the new ones at £99. Okay, so let's have a look on the SD card, shall we? Let's have a look at that. Number 11. Bring that in. Oh, God, wait there. File. Project Manager. Why is that not working? Don't save. Is it this one? There we go. Right, let's bring the file in. Number 11. Oh, what's it doing? Why is it not letting me... Oh, wait there. Did I not stop recording? Oh, bollocks. Do the Sky Zones unsteady view? Do the Sky Zones automatically fix? I thought they were meant to fix the DVR files when you accidentally pull the plug. I couldn't have pressed stop when I did it. My fault. Jiggly view. Jiggly view. So, hello, Super Chat. Because... Gamagonad, just because you're appreciated by me and a lot of other pilots keep doing your own thing. Never conform. Thank you, mate. I really appreciate that for the super chat. $10. That is massively good. Brilliant. Thank you very much. Right, I'm going to just record this again. And make sure I hit stop on the recording this time. Yes, I need to calibrate the RSSI and stuff. Interesting. It seems to have a bit more breakup now. But that might be because I'm killing the battery on the Whoop. Okay. There we go. And then we're going to move on to Radiomaster. We're just going to try this now. Are we ready? Let's see if it's actually done anything. And we'll see if it's any different. If it's not, I'm going to have to do more testing. But that definitely looks like it's the DVR. That definitely looks like it's the DVR. Change frame rate. Why would I need to change the frame rate? Interesting. Why does it want me to do that? What's it change that to? 60. Okay, fair enough. What is going on? It won't play. It's playing there. Why isn't it playing in Resolve? Resolve's freaking out on me now. Just opening Resolve again and we'll get on with this show, guys. Sorry about this. Okay. New project. We'll keep it as a new one. Let me just drag the file over. There we go. Okay, so if we now do that, does still look to be a bit jiggly, doesn't it? But doesn't look as bad. But there's definitely still a jiggle there. Yeah, it's better. It's definitely better. Nowhere near as bad. So this is a behavior then of the steady view receiver. You can see it. Who spoke to Sue? Yeah, it looks different. It does look different on my side. It definitely looks less so. So it must be a behavior of the steady view then. That it must be just the quirks of them. More breakup bars. Yeah, that might be the battery on this because I'm beginning to kill it. So that's how you update the DVR on a SkyZone 04X, guys. Sorry about that. This weekend I bought T16, the versed version for £179 for the version 2 is now. So I hope it was a good decision from the Q7. So we will be talking about that now, actually. It's probably going to be a good time. So thank you. Right, first of all, a massive, massive thank you to, where is he, my friend? Chris, massive thank you, Chris, for walking us through that. I've never had to do it on the Sky Zones. I really do appreciate it. Update your goggles to the newest 04X version of 3 firmware. There will be 2 firmware files to copy the goggles the same manner you uploaded the module. Okay, mate, I will. Yeah, it will show up as a removable drive, then you can copy the goggles firmware. Cool. Right time to power up my steady view now. And a headphones jack. So at 1 FPV. No, okay, so it's now a good time. Why am I not in the middle? What's going on today? Camera's not there. I'm going to start that again. So it's now time to talk about Radiomaster and the new T16S Mark II. Now, this isn't a T16S Mark II. This is a T16S Mark I. It is a radio I was actually sent by Ben at 3DXR. It's a very handy radio to have on the bench. I don't actually use this as my daily driver. And the reason for that is I find it a little big. Overall, I prefer smaller radios, and I actually use the Mambo as my daily flyer. Let me just grab it. It's not there. Where is it? What's over there? I use the Mambo. Now, it's not because I have an affinity for TBS or I think they make the best products in the world. It's actually because I prefer a smaller size radio. Now, the T16S is one of the most popular radios there is today, and they sort of, Radiomaster took a huge amount from FR Sky in what they did with the Taranis. Everyone loves the Taranis. Here it is, one of the best radios I've ever had. Bit smaller, but this was the standard, and literally everyone was using this radio. Everyone was, until Radiomaster came in and started making these that were cheaper and in many ways better. Now, the T16S is without doubt a fantastic radio, and they've just released the new update which has some improvements. Hall effect gimbals as standard now. You've got the headphone jack. You've got a couple of other tweaks as well. The big change is the Hall effect gimbals. That's the big one overall. Some moving around a little bit here and there, but they have made a few tweaks. Now, the real interesting thing about this launch, and I'm just going to get it up on the screen ready, is it's beginning to get to the point you always see a manufacturer head to where they start in the budget and then end up becoming the sort of main player, and then the pricing starts to increase. And we are starting to see that with the new models of T16s. Now, don't get me wrong, they are still doing a $200 radio. And that radio is actually very, very good value. But what they're also doing now is these higher-end models that are starting to drag the price up. And it just makes me wonder where Radiomaster are going to be in 12 months' time, because they're clearly putting all of their effort into this size of radio. And in many ways, for me, it's a massive shame they seem to be ignoring their T12 series. And in fact, I'd love there to be like a T14. Something in the middle in size. It's a great radio, but it is too big for my hands. I simply don't feel comfortable with the stick. I've got to reach very far over. So if I go to the overhead, let's take that out a bit. for me, I've got that is a full stretch of my hands. I'm not comfortable at that point. So I tend to fly as a pincher, is how I fly. So I'm a bit of a mixed. I'm a pincher or thumber with my thumbs sort of on top with one in the front. I don't know what you'd officially class it. But that tends to be how I am, you know, that is my way. And what I'm feeling is when I'm dragging my hands over it, I'm just too far over. That is not comfortable. I'm at a stretch. Whereas on the Mambo, everything is just where I need it to be. I can do what I want to do, no problem at all. I've got no problems at all with it. And I love the size of the radio. In the hand, it feels better. Now, there is no question that the T16 series is one of the best radios on the market because everyone likes it. But when you look at the models, I do wonder where they're going to go with this. And are they still the budget radio? Because when you look at the price of this, the new model is $199 with Hall gimbals. But this has Hall gimbals. And this is much, much cheaper. So let's just hop over to the desktop. So we're on Radiomaster's website. We've got the new T16S at $199. We've got the Max at $249. We've got the Bardwell Edition Max at $249 as well. And then you've got the 549 and the 399 models too. Now, the interesting thing between all of these is they're going to be the same base board for the most part on the radios. So what you're paying for isn't actually reliability as such. You're paying for basically bling. Okay, there's no question the metal gimbals are very, very nice. I got to feel the metal gimbals the other day, and they are stunning in the hand. They really, really are. I would love to have the full CNC gimbals. And you can have them, you know, the AGO ones, you can have them for $329. You've then got the Max, which has got the version 4. Or you can have... So what are you paying for on the Max? Let me just look. What is actually the difference on the Max? Is it simply just the color, the metal? Is it the metal buttons is the difference on the Max? I think it is, isn't it? It's just the carbon. It's the carbon fiber, and is it the metal fittings? It's the same base radio. It's the same base radio. You're just paying for the bling differences. You've also now got the JB edition, which actually I think looks very, very nice. Has metal accessories and leather sides. That's it, metal accessories and leather sides. So you're paying $50 for metal accessories and leather sides. Okay, so the JB edition does look very nice. There's no question about that. But it's getting to the stage of it is the same base radio, and you're not getting any more reliability for that money. But if we start to look at where Radiomaster's pricing is now, we're going to have to ignore the metal gimbals because there's only one. They're the only ones really doing metal gimbals. Oh, yeah, that one does the metal faceplate as well. But if we now look at TBS, the Mambo is available for $139, which is astonishing value, actually, when you think about it. How cheap the Mambo is. If we start looking at, you know, look at the Tango 2 Pro is $199. The Tango 2 Standard is $159. They're beginning to get out of that budget quality radio territory. If we go on Get FPV, you know, there's a huge amount of different radios on you. But if we just look at the manufacturers, so if we go down to radios, radio controllers, and if we Oh, sorry. Controllers. And go price low to high, not newest. There is a lot of options. MK Edition has a built-in gate avoidance system for racing. Okay, obviously you're paying for that, aren't you, in it? But if we just get up to that in this $100 territory, you got the Taranis X9 Lite, which is $136. The QX7 is $137. The Mambo is a great deal. It really, really is. Overall, Tango 2, $159. So they're beginning to price themselves into that upper echelon. T18 Pro is $155 with color touchscreen and 4-in-1. There we go. Now, I think we know the jumper may not quite be the same quality as the other radios. However, it's hard to say that Radiomaster remain a sort of budget brand, considering the likes of TBS are outpricing them. Now, I suspect the new radio will be very good, and I did put an interesting post up on my community page. I put 2 up. I don't know what happened with the second one, because hardly anyone seems to have said anything on it, and I'm just wondering, is YouTube doing silly things? No, it can't. That's the only downside. It can only run it at 250, but I don't care about that. I don't need 500 hertz. But look, I'm not going to get one in. I'm not going to order one. I got no specific reason to order one. I would love a radio with the metal gimbals, but just not this size. I do wish Radiomaster would put more effort into the T12. I think the T12, a really nice quality T12 series, I think would be very, very interesting, because at the moment, there doesn't seem to be anyone filling that mid-size. I don't really want a game controller type remote, although I think when I decide to move away from the Mambo, and I got no reason to move away from the Mambo, I could be tempted. Still doesn't run HTX. I don't need HTX. That's the funny thing. I run Express LRS, 250 hertz. I don't need HTX. I got nothing on this that I don't really need the touchscreen. Again, there are limits to Freedom TX. Zorro is getting AGO1s. That could be very interesting, but it's a compromise. I will be very tempted if the Zorro gets AGO1s. I did hear JB say it earlier. I would be really, really tempted on that. That could be the radio I shift for. Can't go back now. Yeah, it does help on that. I've never had a T12, but a friend of mine had one, and I really like its form factor. It's a perfect size. I would love it if they would make one nicer. Yeah, just a higher will fit. T13. That's interesting. In the works. I did hear him say it earlier. That I still think the Zorro is compromised. John, are you using Are you using the Zorro as what are you daily driving now, John? If you didn't see, John did a really good review on the Radiomaster. He really did. He did a good one as well. I records a DJI, so stretch time the controller and receiver. The DJI controller is almost the perfect size, in my opinion. The Zorro is possibly my next purchase, but waiting on watching the reviews. AGO ones for type teeth. It will always be a big one. Radiomaster, you got the AGO ones, yeah. I felt them the other day, and they did feel very, very nice. I tell you what I liked more than anything about the O1s is the feel when you hit the stops. The stops are just so nice. When you hit them with those metal gimbals, you come up against the edge, it just feels so nice. It really does. So, yeah, it's interesting to see, if you've got the original, there's no great need to change. I'll be honest, I have flown this a little. I haven't flown it a great deal. I just feel it a bit big and heavy. I've got to carry that. You can fit AGO ones on the DJI controller. Yeah, that would just mean using the DJI controller again. I've moved away from the DJI one now. I don't use it anymore. Good evening, Bruce. T12. I would love to see a higher quality T12. I would love to see a T12 Pro with metal gimbals. I would pay for a T12 Pro with metal gimbals. That would be ideal. The Mambo has its failings. I still don't like that shoulder button. There's 50% of me that's tempted to 3D print a cover for that and put a proper switch on it. Bardwell's has the Express LRS built in, which is nice. But, you know, they are big radios. You could argue, it does make you wonder why they couldn't get Express LRS and the 4-in-1 inside the size of the bloody thing. Tango 2. I love the Tango 2 latching button. I still struggle with it a little bit. I'm getting better with it, but I still... It is nice that it's cupped away because you can't accidentally knock it. I hate the push button. Bruce hates the push button. But it's a good radio. You know, look, it's a very good radio. I haven't updated this to the latest, or a bit sticky for me. I greased mine. I actually greased mine. When I took mine apart for the review, I put lithium... Not lithium. It was one of the plastic greases on all of my switches. It's in the video. I showed it in the video, and they are so smooth now. Not in the switch itself, but on the sliders, because they've got little rods, and I put the grease on the rods just to make it run a little bit smoother. It wasn't PTFE. I think it was... It might be silicone grease. It was one of them. Very thick gel type grease. Ideal for slow-moving stuff. 4-in-1 house would not be allowed in the UK. Yeah, we don't worry about that. Silicone. It might be, I think it's silicone. I think it is silicone grease. I have the Tango 2. Not a fan, though. Do I know anyone else dongle for USB? No. Not off the top of my head. I did see a question as well. Bardwell's Vision does have Express LRS built in. Vaseline. It wasn't Vaseline. You know, if we go over Bardwell's one, is very, very nice. I do like the color scheme on JB's. There's no question about it. It's a good-looking radio. It's definitely a good-looking radio. Mike Bergman, thank you for the super chat. Have you tried using DigiView on the Triple Check tablet? Have you any pros, cons about using that tablet for video out? Anything important to know? I haven't. I've got a Dragon Touch tablet that I was using for DigiView, which was sketchy as you like, but did work most of the time. I haven't tried the TripTech. As long as... Most of the issues are USB-C connectivity. That's where most of the issues are. But I haven't done that. But thank you for the super chat, Mike. That's fantastic. It's a nice looking radio. There's no question about it. It's a very, very nice looking radio indeed. I just wish it was a bit smaller. I just wish they were a little bit smaller. 10%, 20% smaller and it'd be ideal. Absolutely ideal. But yeah, we're going to have to see, you know, it is an interesting question. Is Radiomaster still the same? Are they still the budget radio of choice? Or are they now just the radio of choice? Because you could agree in many ways they're no longer budget. You know, if you look at the pricing, if you look at everything else, they really aren't budget anymore. The budget radios are the $100 to $130. And I'll be honest, the Mambo is a steal at that price. I am beginning to get some things I'm not 100% happy about on my Mambo. The sticks aren't great. The rotary wheel is a bit graty at times. If you get any crap in that, it doesn't behave particularly well. So I can see me upgrade. I can see it happening at some point, but it won't be for the Radiomaster. So, but if you guys didn't see, I put a bit of a a Mickey taking post. Bruce, did you see it? Because I mentioned your review in it. For those who didn't see, I did put a bit of a... Let me just find the channel. So, I did put up a bit of a Mickey take post. Thank you, Anthony FPV Mini Quad. Thank you for the super chat, mate. That's massively appreciated. Thank you for that one. For the small gratitude for the help earlier today with the question I had. No problem at all, mate. But I recognise that URL. For those who don't know, I put a bit of a... because... and come back for this. Basically, I am the only channel, I think, that Radiomaster don't send things to. Radiomaster seem to send things to everyone. John gets it. John 5, Bruce, obviously JB, Andy RC, Pavel gets it. Literally, everyone gets it apart from me. They literally send their radios to everyone. And a sign, but not to me. But so I decided to put a bit of a Mickey. A Captain Drone had one. Yeah, Captain. At least you're not bitter. I'm not at all. I just find it amusing. But I put a bit of a Mickey take post up. So what I decided to do, I decided to review the reviews of the Radiomaster T16S Mark II. So not the radio itself, but the reviews of the radio. So I put a post up on my community page, which is up there now, where I talk about my favourite reviews and what I think was good and bad in them. I said one, Wheelie Bloke got the best thumbnail. And Wheelie Bloke's thumbnail, I really liked his thumbnail. That's his thumbnail there. You guys probably can't see that very well, will they? There we go. He has a really good thumbnail. I thought that was cracking. No, they didn't get the golden cube. And best thumbnail went to Wheelie Broke. Best to the point was John E5. John's review was very, very good. Best demo was Andy RC because he actually flew it. I think John E5 flew it as well. But Andy RC got that. JB got best overall content because JB, as always, really did smash it. Best promotion was Wheelie Broke. And if you read my comment on that, which I said was, Wheelie Broke wins this award for the placement of the Neon Radiomaster sign. I love Neon. It's nice to see one that's still working too, actually. A close second on this was JB for his no less than 4 radios in shot. And the fact that he has one with his own name on it and receives commission from sales should have won him the award in itself. However, he just lost out due to the fact his video was more of an overview of the range than a review, and his clear transparency around commission he receives more than anything, and the lack of Radiomaster Neon sign. So, JB just lost out on Best Radiomaster Promotion, and that went to Wheelie Broke because he had the sign in the background. Most anticipated video is Bruce, because Bruce really has smashed it out the park with this review. Not only did he skip the launch day because of his incompetence and living somewhere where you can't send anything to, however, he used fire, baking powder, and a ski mask in his review to demonstrate the new features on the T16S Mark II. And for that alone, he deserves the most anticipated review award. He really, really does. So, yeah, you know, Bruce's was fantastic, and there was links to each video as well. And the overall winner, though, has to go to JB, just because his overall look and feel of the content and the pure amount of information. But I think JB needs to up his game a bit. You know, he was far too transparent in saying he receives commission, and he didn't put his Radiomaster sign in the background. I think he let himself down on that one, and I think he could have done more. I genuinely think he does. So for the Mark III, we shall review the reviews again. And we shall. And I also did put at the bottom, I would personally like to thank Radiomaster. Where I wrote it? Oh, yeah. Personally, finally, I'd like to thank Radiomaster for not providing me a review sample and allowing me to be able to review the reviews like this. You guys never know. There might be a mad edition coming soon. So, I was tempted to do a video on this because it would probably upset people. I might even cut that out and put that on the channel separately, that one. The video reviews has a great video on the Mark II. RC video reviews has a great review, does he? But yeah, I did do a bit of a sarcastic take on it. Ascended reviewing and now reviews the reviewer. It was yeah, JB just missed out. It just missed out on the Radiomaster sign. Nice touch though, Radiomaster. Nice touch. Send everyone a sign that they put in the background and advertise your company's name. Philip worked that out long time ago. Philip knew what he was doing, didn't he? JB's slacking on the lighting. He is a bit. He needs to up his game on the lighting. He really does. So, but yeah, I did put that up on the channel. So, Radiomaster T16 Mark II. There's nothing special here. If you're going to buy one, it's good. But I don't think they're a good budget radio anymore. I think what you have to call them now is the mid-end. And you know, you got to look at it two ways. You're paying a huge amount more for the higher end models for bling, basically. So what the base radio should be very, very good. And it sort of just raises the question of what is the quality like on these $300 and $400 versions when it's the same baseboard as the $200 version. You're paying for external housing and stuff. That's what you're paying for, and you're not really getting a better quality radio. It's not like the switches are better, or you know, the rotary encoders are better. You're getting the same, just some improvements in the outside look and feel. Facelift is probably the right term to use for it. So that's it on the Radiomaster. There's a little review, just minor changes. My mother used to say, if you don't need advertising, good stuff. So, JB is slacking on the... And he should have added crotch lighting. But they are better, though. Radiomaster quality still isn't on par. I'm guessing Radiomaster sales will drop in. I think it's a refresh. You always do a refresh. You always do a refresh of a product at some point. I definitely would like to see a better T12. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about is the new Whoop camera to go with the Whoop VTX on HDZero. Now, if you guys haven't seen, there is a new Whoop setup that's just been released. We'll take a look at it in a minute. And this really is pushing digital FPV forward. And we're beginning to see HDZero fill a lot of gaps, actually, that other people aren't in. And it's really interesting to see. Now, just before I jump into this, I'm just going to talk quickly about the VRX, because people have been asking, when is the new VRX coming? We should have news in the next 24 hours. Today was the day they said they were going to launch, but I've heard it's the next 24 hours. So it won't be long. That doesn't mean you're going to be able to get one tomorrow. That doesn't mean they're at dealers tomorrow. That probably will be a 2 to 3 week delay from now, if that is about right. Now, as of today, there is still no official pricing being released on the new VRX module. Don't expect it, though, to be $99. It's not going to happen. I have my own ballpark that I have shared before, which I would hope it's somewhere between 170 and 250. I think it will fall somewhere in the middle of that. I do think it'll fall somewhere in the middle of that, but we're going to have to wait and see. Nothing is confirmed at this moment in time. The $99 was a deal. If you get access to one, you've got access to an existing VRX. There's no need to upgrade. There will be some new features like backpack functionality, but overall, the main features are the same. There is no benefits from a system point of view for the new VRX. It's simply to make availability in the market. And the big changes will be you'll need all antennas for the new one, because there's no built-in patches on the new one either. However, if we jump over to the desktop, Carl put out a statement this week talking about the new HDZero light camera. Now, I am going to whinge a little bit in a minute about some of this because things are actually getting very, very confusing. So this new camera weighs just 1.5 grams combined with the new VTX, which weighs just 4.5 grams with a 4.5 dipole, will give a total Whoop solution below 7 grams. Grams. So below 7 grams for the Whoop setup. It uses the same sensor as the Micro V2, so it does 4x3 and 16x9, but it is a 4x3 sensor. So you got to take into account 16x9 is cropped and stretched on that sensor. It's not native 16x9. And it has excellent low light and is an 84-degree field of view versus a 69 field of view in the Nano HD. Now, the bundle for this is going to be under $100. So the Nano Light camera, the Whoop Light VTX, the MIPI cable and the antenna, and they'll be doing that for $99. Now, it is interesting to see. This camera is tiny. You can see there. You've got the new Whoop VTX, which I'll come on to in a sec. And you can see there. Very interesting indeed. It really is. Now, there has been a huge amount. Let me just find the other post for the board, because that was shared the other day. Let me just see if I can find it. They actually posted it on Discord as well, actually. So if we go on to the HDZero Discord and then announcements, there we go. We have the new HDZero Whoop VTX as well, which supports 1 to 3S, 25 or 200 milliwatts of output. Smart audio, it's 25 by 25 by M2 soft mounting. Antenna retention, removable shielding, and just 4.5 grams. So that is very, very small. I think this is very, very good. This is really good indeed and quite impressive just to see how they're pushing it along. Now, I did just see someone's comment about what Nick Burns said. I hope the lens is linear. A lot of them are very small cameras. There's some really non-linear allowed to, which makes them hard to fly with. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. No, they've added the shield on the Whoop one from the looks of it. The only other VRX with a VTX with a shield is the one what? And that's a heat sink. Why can't they get all the shops stocked up? Yeah, that is something that could be labelled still heavier than we were expecting, according to Nick Burns' original comment regarding the board's weight. Yeah, I think that weight is without the shield. Is that without... oh, yeah, without shielding. 4.5 grams without the shield. That's correct. But it is interesting to see. And they do have a lot in their... They're stable right now. They really do. You've got this new VRX. You've got the VRX around the corner. Won't be too long. It'll be here now. But they do have an awful lot going on HDZero side of things. So it's really interesting to see this new camera, this new board. Things are getting a bit confusing. Things are in the sense of you've got... Okay, you've got the Micro V2, you got the Micro V1, which was a fixed 16x9 camera. You got the Micro V2, which is a 4x3 and 16x9 camera, but the camera is 4x3 natively, and it applies a crop and a stretch to go to 16x9. So it doesn't take the full image and just crop it. It does it differently. So it goes in smaller and then expands it to 16x9. And as a result of that, you're not actually getting HD video in 16x9 mode. You're getting something like 960 by 576 off the top of my head. It might be smaller than that. I can't quite remember what the size was, or 720 by 576. It was something like that. So on the Micro V2, it does 4x3 and 16x9, but it isn't natively 16x9. You've then got the Nano, which is native 4x3 and proper 16x9 without a crop. And then you've got this new camera, 960 by 540. There we go. I thought it was something like that off the top of my head. And then you've got this new camera, which is using, it's called Micro, but it's using the Nano, sorry, but it's got the same sensor as the Micro. So there is a lot of confusion building around these different cameras right now. 960 by 540, that's the one. But that's only on the Micro V2. So it is interesting to see. It is interesting to see. There's got a new Foxeer camera coming as well, anti-FPV. That'll be cool. Foxeer going to bring another one too. But there is a bit of confusion. And then you've got the confusion over what mode on the VRX to actually bloody set these cameras to, which I'm even struggling with today myself. Because I've been flying this week in 4x3 and it's recording in 16x9. And I'm like, well, why? And it doesn't look stretched. It doesn't look stretched in the goggles and it doesn't look stretched in the DVR. So what's going on there? How can I be viewing in 4x3, recording in 16x9, and none of it is stretched or shrunk? How does that even happen? I don't even know how that happens. That just doesn't make sense. If 4x3 is coming in and you're stretching it to 16x9, it should either be cropped or stretched. I don't understand. So I've got to have a play with that, and I'm going to make a video on this subject because there's a bit to talk about on this. Now, this week, as I said at the start of the video, I'm actually making a video that I'm going to be flying analog, HDZero, and DJI. I've actually done this once already, but I was unhappy with the analog footage that I got because of the jitter. And that was like, oh, okay, is that right? I could use that for the video because I've done the test and I've already got my thoughts on it. Now, what's really interesting is there is a dramatic difference between analog and both digital systems. It's just dramatic. There's no question about it. What is more interesting for me is that I've actually started to prefer HDZero over DJI, especially in some very specific ways. DJI is definitely good on the quality, but I've also taken a real dislike for focus mode since flying HDZero so much. And the reason is, once you have flown HDZero and sort of got used to the way it behaves, there's no sort of manipulation of that image. It's not moving around. Whereas with DJI, with focus mode on, and I know you can turn it off, which isn't a problem, but with focus mode on, you got this constant sort of niggling in bits of the image, and it's actually really distracting. I mean, steady view. So is yours doing it as well, GMI? Your steady view? So sorry, I missed your post on it, mate. So your steady view is doing it, and the standard module isn't. Is that correct? Because if it is, I might just buy a module because that's going to drive. Now I've seen it, I can't unsee it. 1 second, guys. I'm just going to blow my nose. Sorry, I just needed to sniff in. Yeah, you saw the same jitter, and it's not on the other module. Just before I buy one. Yeah, since flying HDZero, it really has made me see focus mode. And I'll be honest, it never bothered me before. It really didn't bother me. So, and what I did fly was DJI in 50 megabits a second, focus mode on, and then focus mode off, because I was like, I bloody hate that. HDZero, and analog, obviously, with the T-Rex. And I have to say, overall, there wasn't a lot between both systems from a performance point of view. HDZero isn't as clear. You know, it doesn't have the clarity that DJI has. But DJI does look much better. Something as well, and I'll say this, I remember when the DJI goggles came out, and people who've bought them have complained about the light leak. I never noticed it until I've been flying with the O4Xs continuously for the last month and a half. Because I flew so much with the DJIs, the light leak just became nothing. Only this week did I realise how badly the DJI actually fits my face and how much light leak there is around the goggle. It's quite funny. A lot of the complaints people made, I was like, I don't see a problem with it. It seems fine to me. Fly something else for a period, and then you go back to the DJIs, and you suddenly realise there's light everywhere, especially down here. You know, there's quite a lot of light. You change the film. Yeah, there's a lot of thick ones. But it's funny, isn't it? You don't notice these things. And then you suddenly do over time. I have to say, I am a massive fan of the Skyzone 04Xs. I really have to say. GMI agreed with GMI. DJI struggling, Forge wouldn't, and HDZero doesn't. Yeah, there is a difference in behavior. We can glance and see our RTX. We get used to the things you do, and that's the funny things, isn't it? You do get used to it. I'll be honest. I found a case, by the way, for those who watch it. I had a case in the drawer. Freewell Gear sent me for. This was either for the Mavic 2 or the Mavic Pro, and it's just been in a drawer ever since, and it's perfect for the Skyzone goggles with the module on. And I'm going going HDZero over DJI. The O4Xs are just that. This is such. HDZero not having universal camera control through MIPI like DJI seems like an oversight. It is, but you just use smart audio. You can control all the HDZero cameras through the VTX menu. That just works. You just use smart audio. It's not really any. I know what you mean. It's not in the menus. I do get what you mean on that. Yeah, I've gone back to, analog. It's been a while since I've flown analog. I use HDO. Will that be okay with HDZero? Yeah, HDOs are okay. They do have a limitation in 4x3. They only accept HDMI in 16:9, so you end up with a smaller cropped image in 4x3. But that's the HDO 2s. I can't remember on the HDO 1s. The firmware update in the situation where HDZero is also an oversight. I'm not convinced on that. The only complaint I have with the firmware update on HDZero is that you got to do it twice. So goggles and then module. I don't mind the HDZero. DJI, you got to plug into a computer. HDZero, you put the file on the card, put it in the goggles, and it does it. Put the file on the card and connect it to the. I'm happy. I don't really have any problems with the way HDZero updates the firmware, apart from the stupidly short cable. As long as you've got a long cable, it's better. HDO 4x3, you'll be fine then. I know the issue is on the HDO 2s. I'll be honest, I find HDZero fine to update. But in many ways, for me, it reminds me of the old DJI days where you had to download a firmware on an SD card, put it into the drone and turn it on. And that's how DJI always was. It's only recent times we've got the app and stuff like that. Yeah, I personally don't see a problem. Look, I have bricked, entirely my fault, this VRX and and the Scout HDs due to low batteries and recovered them both in firmware. One of them it took a long time because we had a bit of a problem doing it, but now I've understood it. I made the video and put that out there. I've not had an issue since. I bricked this one last week. I was doing the firmware update and didn't realize I picked up the wrong battery and it turned off halfway through. I heard the fans go, ooh. Yeah, I don't think there's anything particularly bad. Right, the version 2 is... Am I right in thinking NeoFlow FPV? Yeah, the Micro V2 is native 4x3. Correct, on HDZero. That is the one. The basics with HDZero is, if you want 4x3, go with the Micro V2. If you want 16x9, go with the Nano. That's the basic rules. Whilst both cameras can do 4x3 and 16x9, one is native one way, one is native the other. So that's the simplest way to say it. So if we go on to HDZero's website, and let's see if they've actually got the cameras listed. I don't want transmitters. Cameras. So you got the Micro V2. So Micro V2, native 4x3. Does 16x9, but is native 4x3. And that is 960 by 720. Is the 960H by 720 is the native 4x3 resolution on that. And then the Nano, and I keep thinking it's called the Nano 2, but it isn't. The Nano is 1280 by 720. Naturally 16x9. So, and I've got them. I've got both these cameras now. I ordered them in the other week. They're both here. I need to make a video on this. Ideally, I'd like to see HDZero between top-end analog and DJI in price. I love that I don't see pixelation in HD enough. Yeah, it's preference. And I'll be honest, I've flown HDZero so much in the last couple of weeks. I've been doing a lot of flying on it just to get my head around this 1 watt and stuff. And, oh, there we go. Hello. 1 second, guys. Let me just deal with that. We will deal with that one. We must be popular. We're getting spammed. We must be popular. Yes, there is a better lens for the old camera. I've put it on mine as well, and it did make a big difference. Some of those old cameras, that lens is on the HDZero website. If you go on the website, onto here, they should have it under accessories. Here it is, HDZero lens for Runcam Nano. I've put it on mine. It's a proper lens. It's a glass lens instead of plastic. We think a lot. The early original Runcams were a plastic lens, apparently, and these are the proper ones. I've done it on mine. I've put it on the orange one that's up there. Does make an improvement. It's nowhere near as good as the new cameras, though. The new cameras are much better. Much, much better. Yeah, much better overall. You say plastic like it's a bad thing. So, yes. Yeah, but it's nice to see HDZero pushing things on. They really have. John D's FPV. So DJI Avis Cadex Polar. Camera or air unit? Hey, Mr. Spam, hit the like button. Do I think Cadex are going to make a HDZero camera? No. And I think that is a political move. Now, that leads me on very nicely to the next subject. And that is DJI FPV Mini and what I was talking about in the video the other day. And if you haven't seen it, I put a new video out. Let me just put the... I'm going to put the thumbnail up. a little bit of a controversial one in today's climate, but it was nothing to do with what is going on in other places of the world. More than anything, it was me making a point. Is DJI about to drop a bomb on everyone else because they've done it before, and it wouldn't be the first time that they have walked in and smashed the doors open. And if you haven't seen the video, I would suggest watching it. And there is some stuff I didn't cover in that video, and that was air units and stuff like that. But let's get off that one. We don't want to be that one. But it does appear that there's going to be a DJI FPV Mini. What that will be, we don't know. I don't know how they're going to get the weight out of it if that does happen. It is interesting that DJI could be coming back in it. I'm not convinced it'll be small and incremental. I'm beginning... Okay, I have to be careful what I say because there are some things I'm aware of, not officially, but now isn't the time to put them out there because they're very good people who are finding this stuff. But what I'm starting to think is some of the evidence suggests this might be a bit more than an incremental update. So we're going to have to see. We're going to have to see. No one knows for sure. I actually don't think it's around the corner either. I don't think it's happening in the next 30 to 60 days. Because if they were in the hands of KOLs, it would have leaked by now. Someone would have shown an image. Just remember how early we started seeing leaks of the FPV drone. It was months ahead. I hope you will do chase stunts like Pavel did. I'm not convinced it's going to be what everyone wants, but I wouldn't be shocked. I'm not convinced. I could even see it being bigger, or one unit being bigger. It's looking. There's some stuff. I think what you've got to take into account is this. For a lot of people flying freestyle, you're flying more than one camera. And there is an opportunity to get to the point where you don't need to run two cameras. You could just run one. So when you start talking about weight and size, start thinking about that. And that makes things different. Because remember, you're strapping a GoPro on top of your drone. DJI sort of stepped through that door with the current system with 1080p recording. But let's just think of what they may have done pushed forward on that. They have a lot of camera technology. So it's going to be interesting to see. I don't know. We don't know if they produce anything that is going to be compatible. If I'm a betting man, if I was an out-and-out betting man, I think you might get compatibility on the V2s because I think it would be almost impossible for a new system not to be dual band, 2.4 and 5 gigs. I just don't see that not being the case. But it's still worth remembering that most of the RCs are on 2.4, so will DJI just think we're not going down that road? But I do think there might be room to try and driving more of their image technology into this. I'm guessing... Yeah, I hope it's not that camera. Same camera from the Action 2, yeah, but not the bloody DJI FPV drone. Action 2 in a Mini, that would be good. It doesn't necessarily need a gimbal, remember. Remember, it doesn't need a gimbal. You've got electronic image stabilization. Single board Vista style VTX, that's in the DJI FPV Mini. I don't know how they're going to get this out. Okay, one thing I will say on this is people need to be realistic on size. There is close to nothing they can do to make the current VTX smaller. Okay, let me grab a Vista. I have a Vista in hand because I've just taken this out of a drone. Is my overhead jittery? It looks weird tonight. I need to have a look. Okay, so we have a Vista. There is very little DJI can do to make this smaller, because this board consists of RF and processing and power, and everything on that is about as small as it can get. The one thing that DJI have control of, I got the right camera on the Vista, yeah, the DJI camera. The only thing DJI have full control of is the P1 SoC that's on board, and that really isn't a big part of the device. It's a very small part of the overall size. And in fact, if you take HDZero's got 2 chipsets. You know, if we grab a VTX, here's a HDZero. I was just trying to find one of my stripped down DJI units. 1 second. Seem to be missing all of my ear units. I don't know why. Where's it gone? What's really odd is all of my DJI ear units that I've stripped down have gone missing. Okay, we'll have to do it on overheads. We'll have to do it on screen. I put them all in a box, and I can't find the box. I had this the other day, and I was like, where the hell have they gone? Yeah, not sure about that. Not sure about that at all. Okay, so let's do it on screen. We'll do it on screen. Let's go to repair.wiki. For those who don't know, I have been uploading some stuff onto repair.wiki. So if we go into drones, and we're going to DJI FPV system. Okay, so if we look over these images, so this is here the DJI ear units. You got the top board and the bottom board, right? The only bit in this DJI can really control is this chip here, the P1. Okay, that is really the only bit of this they can have influence on sizing, and that would take an additional node and cost. Everything else is the size it is pretty much because it needs to be that way. So the RF front end, you've got the transceiver with the amplifiers. If we look at the Vista, again, you've got the P1, the SRAM, which it needs. On the back of that board, you've got the RF, look. So on that board, you've got the RF. Oh, sorry, that's the top of that one there. On that one there, you've got the power. That's just power supply and the MIPI connection for the camera. And then you've got power. And then you've got RF. It is going to be very, very hard for them to get this any smaller. There's just, even if they shrunk the P1 down a node and it got 20% smaller, the rest of this pretty much needs to be the same size. It is incredible what they did already. They could replace all those caps with one big one. Just one capacitor and one resistor. There is a huge amount of filtering. What this is filtering. This is the same as you get on the back of a graphics card. All of this, and it's on this one as well, just look at the filtering that they have to put on this unit for the digital end. It's a huge amount of filtering that goes on it. It's crazy how much filtering they're having to put on it. Masses of filtering for the data light. So it's going to be really hard to make this smaller. You got the DVR on that, so you could cut that. You could take the DVR out, but there isn't a lot of room here. There really isn't a lot of room. You got 3 power stages. You got the multi-controller power supply. This outputs 4 different outputs. You've got the 5 volt and the 3.3 volt back. So we're going to have to wait and see. I know a lot of people are hoping for smaller. I don't see this shrinking down anytime soon. I just don't. I've decided, I've decased 4 of my ear units. They could move some stuff to the camera. It's, there's a trade-off. So, their big problem isn't the one bit they can control. Their big problem is all the associated circuitry. That's the key here. Hydraulic press for shrinking it down further. Yeah, and I don't know. I'm not saying it can't be done. Anything can be done. Anything can be done, but it's going to be really hard to get it much smaller. Their setup is different. You've got to have the SRAM there for the buffer. If you could lose the SRAM, okay, they could make a P1 with a die-stacked SRAM on top, but DJI don't have the technology for that. Potentially they could creep some stuff down. Not convinced they could get it on one board, though. One board is a push. One board is a big push. The impossible just takes a little bit longer. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, but I think we could even see some increase in size. But it's not confirmed at this time if there is going to be ear units. We think there is, but nothing is confirmed. Nothing is confirmed. What VTX tech did the A2S use again? Yeah, the A2S is based off the P1 as well. Basically, the A2S, the Mini 2 are all... The A2, the A2S, and the Mini 2 are all based off the S1 H1 chipset. S1P1. Sorry, S1P1 chipset. The S1 is the same chipset as the P1, but it has less onboard processing. We don't really know how. I am interested on how they're going to make, if the FPV Mini does happen, how they're going to get the weight out of it. Because there isn't a lot of tech in the FPV now. There's no special features. There's no additional processing. There's no smart shots. The FPV drone today has GPS, vision positioning sensors, and a flight controller, and OcuSync. Now, they can't get rid of OcuSync. They can't get rid of the flight controller. They could get rid of the visual positioning system on the bottom. But that's it. And the object avoidance sensors on the front. But that's it. They don't have a massive amount. Sorry for the yawn. It's getting late in the UK. They don't have a massive amount they can take out of it. There's not a lot they can get out of that FPV drone. It's made of cheese. That's how lightweight it is. Just Microtext, just curiosity. I don't know. Not really, no. Bruce, they shouldn't even be there. But I think the board for it is in the module, so you're only going to save a bit. No, it doesn't, because of the angle. But there's not a lot they can take out of it. You know, that drone doesn't have a dramatic amount they could remove. The only thing you could do is lose the gimbal and everything and go for full electronic image stabilization. Is there an end in sight? You know. No, things are probably going to get worse, not better. For at least another 12 months. There is still major problems getting some stuff. They could remove all the breakness. It's going to be interesting to see. It's going to be interesting to see. But there's nothing confirmed at this time. I do explain the whole situation in the video. You know, HDZero does win the war on size for now. You know, that's for sure. They are able to get it down, but they are doing things differently. They have been discounting it. They have been discounting the FPV drone, Bruce, yeah. They are it's coming. The FPV Mini is happening. That is going to happen. We're just going to have to wait and see. We are just going to have to wait and see. Now, that is it from me on this week's one, guys. If you've got any questions before we wrap this one up, there's 112 of you here. I would like to first of all say, for those who haven't hit the like button, we're gonna do a like marathon at the end of the video, like I did last week. So if you haven't hit the like button yet, please do now consider hitting it to allow the analytics to think, you know what, this was very good, even if it wasn't. So just to share with you what I got coming up, there's a video on the Hexoon frame this week. I've got a couple of videos in my head I want to make. I've got this analog versus digital one. I wouldn't be shocked, Bruce, on a Mini. I've been thinking that. I have been thinking that. I build your own chip manufacturing plant in the US. I own the DJI FPV. It's good for exploring uncharted areas. That's about it. Definitely wouldn't buy a Mini. FPV would probably be a novelty toy. I do wonder if the FPV Mini would basically be an unrestricted Mavic with a fixed gimbal. Do you know what I mean? Something like that. I don't know. No. We know what is 100% happening is Goggles version 3. We know that. It's just everything else. The Mini is happening as well, but it's everything else is the problem. We don't really know what they're up to. I don't think it's around the corner though, guys. What I will say what happened to your HD video XJ? I don't think they're around the corner. The KOLs will have one. I am not expecting to be contacted on any of these releases. I am not expecting that. But if there is an FPV Mini, Mavic FPV. I have built an FPV Phantom in the past. I made I tell you how long ago it was. It had an ACE32 in it. I did build a full Phantom with an ACE32. A Mavic, if I could get one cheap enough. Mavic 3 FPV edition. Probably has better GPS performance. But no, this week I've got there's a couple of things I've got to get coming up. I've got a couple of videos coming up this week, and I've got a couple of interesting ones on my head. One of them is about remote ID, actually, an FPV. I don't know. I've had this idea about that one. I've actually got quite a bit of gear here I need to start talking about and showing you guys. I've got to get that done. GMI, are you still here? I need to find GMI's message because he, I think, answered my question. So do I need to order a different module? Do we know what module doesn't fit? Because if it's at Steady UX, it's got that wobble. So GMI, let me find GMI's post. No, it's not getting better. Scrolling up. Can I search my own chat? GMI, where's GMI? Why is GMI not coming up on the participants? Oh, I think he must have gone. No, he must be here. Where's GMI? Okay, he said they're all easy. ID. We get used to things. I'm just trying to find if GMI's post on what he said. That was on HDZero because he did his tests. Oh no, it's gone back too far now. I think GMI said so. He put a standard module in and it looked fine. So, do I go for a TBS or do I go for a rapid fire? What's people's thoughts? Does we know any of these that fit the Sky Zones? I'm not sure. We'll have to find out. Car industry is suffering big style. Yeah, it's a bit like the Wiimote, isn't it? Elon Musk being a git. Okay, guys. I am going to wrap this one up. I'd like to thank you for spending some time. Thank you for the likes. I want to thank everyone for the super chats tonight. It has been amazing. Now, if you are new here, please do consider hitting the subscribe button. If you would like to support us on a regular basis, I do have a link to my Patreon in the description. Please consider checking it out. I'd also like to thank you all for the guys who use the Buy Me a Coffee as well. If you want to do a one-off donation, we'll be back same time, same place next week with whatever happens in the week. I don't know yet. As I said, we've got plans for a couple of videos to go up, so please do check them out. Look after yourself. Thank you for your participation. As always, stay safe, and I will speak to you guys again soon. Now, I need to find the button. There it is. Press 1. Look after yourself, guys. And, yeah, we will be back next week.